players, Victor Medina and Emanuele Briganti.
Here we go. We're going to see the leads out from Emanuele, leading with that Incineroar and that Blood Moon Ursaluna. On the opposite side of the field, Victor going with the tried and tested Gholdengo and their own Incineroar.
Oh, this Gholdengo not really in a great position here against this Incineroar and the Ursaluna. It's very, very heavily threatened. But there is that fake out from Victor's Incineroar on the field. So, there is that option to buy some time for the Gholdengo.
Yeah, and it depends which one is faster. If you're trading fake outs here, of course, if you are Emanuele, you kind of have to commit to the fake out into the opposing Incineroar. Do you want to do that? If you're the slower of the two, you're kind of wasting a turn when you could go for something a little bit more valuable, parting shot, or maybe even a knockoff into that Gholdengo if it's not protected on Victor's side. Like you said, both Pokemon pretty threatened right now. That Ursaluna positioned very well. Can put some big damage on with an Earth Power into either slot.
Well, it looks like the Incineroar on Victor's side is going to be withdrawn immediately for this Pelipper. So Victor getting a bit of an early lead in the weather phase matchup, but now the Gholdengo just really heavily threatened and just does not want to deal with any attacks coming its way. Goes for a protect. That fake out goes into the Pelipper. That breaks its focus sash, and the Blood Moon comes off from the Ursaluna onto the Pelipper. Gets a knockout, and Victor loses a Pokemon on turn 1 of this game.
Wow, what a fast start here from Emanuele, targeting down into the Incineroar, saying, okay, I'm going to go for the fake out here because I believe that I'm the faster. Follow it up with a double up from the Blood Moon, and it is enough. Unfortunately, the Incineroar sticks around, but it is that Pelipper, the all-important weather setter, that has been lost for Victor, putting him behind, especially if Emanuele has got that Alolan Ninetales in the back, can get rid of that rain at any point that they want to.
Yes, Emanuele now has comfortable control of the weather, and yes, we did see that Ninetales in the back. But right now, Victor does have a fresh fake-out option on his Incineroar, so there is the option to go for a fake-out. Now, Gholdengo, because it protected that last turn, it was a bit of a wasted protect. Can't really protect again, and we can see Ursaluna, can just simply go for another tap onto it. But it looks like we are going to get another terrestrialization immediately on that Gholdengo. It will be that Terra flying.
Yeah, so it gets that nice immunity to the Earth Power that could be potentially coming out from the Ursaluna. We know it can't lock into the Blood Moon because it cannot do that consecutively. Fake out from Victor's Incineroar into Emanuele's, and now that nasty plot, the all-important boost to those special attacks, and it will try to pull Victor back into the game. We'll see what this Ursaluna went for. Earth Power, and it is into the Incineroar. Not quite enough to pick up the knockout, but some very valuable damage.
You can see how this Ursaluna, not holding a life orb, is not able to get that knockout onto this Incineroar. Incineroar very heavily chipped, but now this Gholdengo is in a very comfortable position here. It's no longer threatened super effectively by this Incineroar, and I would imagine, given that this Ursaluna is not that offensive, it could probably survive a Blood Moon.
Yeah, that's the big question here, that the Blood Moon now is going to be active for Emanuele, so can target into that Gholdengo now, and it will not be resisted because that's lost that steel typing. So Victor has to be very careful about that. What do you choose your attack to be? And do you see the terrestrialization in response to try and take that potential Make It Rain coming from the opposite side of the field a little bit better? And it's exactly what we see. The Electric Terror type from the Blood Moon. It will be going for that. And are we seeing it combined with that Blood Moon attack?
Here's the Gholdengo now going for a Make It Rain. Resisted, but still does so much damage to the Incineroar and the Ursaluna. This is a resisted here at +2. It is now at +1 special attack. But the Flare Blitz comes off onto the Gholdengo, barely does anything at -2 attack and in the rain. But the Blood Moon follow-up in the Gholdengo is enough to get the knockout, and Gholdengo goes down, and Victor is now knocked down to his final 2 Pokemon.
Yeah, Emanuele really utilizing the Blood Moon Ursaluna to full effect here. You can see how beneficial it was to terrestrialize there. The Flare Blitz from the Incineroar not doing anything, -2, but the chip damage was maybe all you needed alongside that Blood Moon to take down that Gholdengo. And Emanuele, you've got to say, is doing everything to pressure Victor perfectly in this match. Force that terrestrialization because of the threat of the Earth Power. Now it's sitting pretty nicely in a position where it can continue to pressure this next turn maybe if you are Emanuele, you want to start to consider switching out the Incineroar, and you've got the space to do that because you have so much resource in the back, unlike Victor that is now going to have to rely on the Incineroar and that Archaladon.
Oh yes, and now Emanuele just has so many different options. He can swap in that Ninetales, reset the weather, and make sure that the Archaladon does not get a one-turn Electro shot off. It does look like the Incineroar will be recalled, and in comes this Rillaboom, which is going to set the grassy terrain and also activate Fake Out on the next turn. So a really nice switch in for Emanuele here.
Yeah, it is, and we'll see how this turn plays out. But yes, just to protect from the Ursaluna, doesn't want to contend with any of these attacking options from Victor's side of the field, especially with the rain up. You've already mentioned the Electro Shot could be an option, and it is a way for Victor to start setting up an Archaladon. But it's just a body press coming out. Not really any stamina boost to make that impactful, but getting some useful damage all the same into that Rillaboom.
Yeah, that's a very sad body press off of a unboosted Archaladon. Does mean that this turn, at least all the Pokemon on the field can regain some health, but now that the Rillaboom is on the field, there's a threat of a Fake Out, and it looks like Victor is going to concede this game.
Yeah, that was such a convincing win from Emanuele in game one. Came out the blocks flying and utilizing that powerful Blood Moon Ursaluna to full effect, just overwhelming Victor from start to finish and getting all the decisions right as well. You've got to really point that out, that Emanuele got every decision when he needed to. Spot on, catching the Pelipper on the switch in, getting the knockout there, and then leveraging the Blood Moon Ursaluna, forcing the Terastallization onto the Gholdengo, putting it in a spot where the Blood Moon can then take the knockout once again. Everything for Victor to do in this game 2. Can they bring it back? Can they tie it and take it to a game 3? If you're Victor, Zoe, what are you doing to adjust coming into this next game?
Oh, it's so difficult to say. Victor was immediately put on the back foot when he lost that Pelipper turn 1, which meant that he lost the weather. It's also interesting to note that Emanuele actually never brought out his Ninetales despite the fact that he had it in the back. In fact, he never revealed it, so it was a really dominant game 1, and I think Victor really has to be more careful with preserving his weather setters in this game.
Do you lead out with the Basculegion? Because if you see that Ursaluna and the Incineroar again, do you just lead Pelipper and Basculegion, or do you lead Basculegion and Incineroar with the thought of, okay, I'm just going to not Terastallize my Basculegion, but I'm going to flip turn, I'm going to switch out my Incineroar to the Pelipper, get the rain onto the field, and then start utilizing the Basculegion to go after the Blood Moon Ursaluna a little bit earlier in this game to try and remove that threat. And then that might enable your Gholdengo, that might enable the Archaladon a little bit later in the game for you if you can leverage those Pokemon early on.
Yeah, the Basculegion could potentially be an option for Victor here, but it looks like now we are going to get started very shortly into the game 2, and the stakes could not be higher for both of these players. Emanuele needs to win this game, and Victor has to win to bring it to a game 3, and our players will be leading with that Gholdengo and Basculegion, as he called out Lee, and the Incineroar and Ursaluna.
Yeah, so here we go, the Gholdengo on the field. It isn't in the best of positions right now. It's threatened by the Flare Blitz from the Incineroar, the Earth Power from that Ursaluna. Does have the opportunity to Terastallize. Do you want to go down that route again and become a bit more susceptible to the Blood Moon? But the big important thing is you could switch it out, bring that Pelipper onto the field, get the rain activated, and utilize that Basculegion to start getting the damage you need onto the Ursaluna. Despite it Terastallizing or not, I think it has to Terastallize in the face of the Basculegion to get rid of that water weakness that it's currently got.
Oh, this Basculegion in a very strong position here, just hitting both of these Pokemon super effectively. Looks like Incineroar does not want anything to do with these super effective choice banded water type attacks, and in comes the Rillaboom ready to soak up any water damage onto its slot. And now we're going to have to see which Pokemon did Victor target with that Basculegion. It looks like we're going to get a turn 1 Terastallization immediately onto this Ursaluna. So this will now be Terra Electric type, which means it will be taking neutral damage from this Basculegion's water type attacks if it does choose to go for it. And now the Mega Rain just comes up immediately, does quite a bit to this Rillaboom with a critical hit. So quite a big critical hit. And now the Basculegion is time to go for an attack, and it will be that flip turn. Does just a little bit onto the Rillaboom.
Yeah, it's really useful damage all the same, though, but it is going to get itself off the field, more importantly, and kept around for later when it's in a more preferable position, because now a Blood Moon Ursaluna is in a spot where it can fire off either a Blood Moon or an Earth Power into either one of these slots. Earth Power into either the Gholdengo or the Incineroar is going to be a huge amount of damage, but it is the Blood Moon into the Gholdengo, expecting the Pelipper, and this time not paying off.
Very, very nice read from Victor there. Gholdengo, of course, Blood Moon is a normal type move, but thanks to Ursaluna's Mind's Eye ability, it hits Ghost types, and Gholdengo, even though it got hit by the Blood Moon, its Steel typing protected it and allowed it to take that resisted hit. But now this next turn, you know there's definitely no Blood Moon coming, but there is an Earth Power, and there's 2 Pokemon on Victor's side that's weak to ground.
Does it open the door for you then, if you're Victor, to maybe switch in the Pelipper now and get that rain set early on, get the Incineroar off the field, maybe protect the Gholdengo? You still have access to Fake Out here. You've got to worry about the Rillaboom, but now it's switched off the field. There isn't any need to worry about that.
Oh, now the Rillaboom is going to be withdrawn for an Incineroar on Emanuele's side. So Victor's Incineroar will be taking that -1 to his attack, and it looks like another Mega Rain goes off. Does barely anything to the Incineroar, and the Ursaluna also means the Gholdengo will be at -4 special attack. But that doesn't matter because the Earth Power now comes up into the Incineroar. Incineroar soaks it up so well and allows it to get a parting shot off on Emanuele's Incineroar, which means both of these Incineroar are at -1, but Victor's one will be retreating to his Pokeball.
Yeah, we could be kind of reverting to turn 1 again with those leads if Basculegion's opted for to come out here for Victor, because it is the one Pokemon you can bring onto the field. It is, with that Ghost typing, going to have the immunity to the Fake Out, and then you have that nice switch from the Gholdengo into the Pelipper this time, where you could potentially Terastallize. You could go for that Wave Crash into the Ursaluna, and with the rain boosting that, the Terastallization on top, it would be probably enough to get the Ursaluna from this range. You've got to be worried, though, about a potential Protect from that Pokemon, because there's nothing stopping it just clicking that button and allowing the Incineroar to potentially go for a knockoff or a parting shot. So getting the decision right this turn is really key. Do you just flip turn into the Incineroar if you're Victor, a more safer option, but still switch that Gholdengo out to try and reset those special attack drops that you've taken from the 2 Make It Rains from the previous turns?
Oh, I can really see this Gholdengo maybe wanting to switch out, but Basculegion, as he called out earlier, might want to just try and flip turn its way out, because if it doesn't manage to take a knockout, it will be heavily threatened by whatever responding attack from Emanuele's side, and our players are really taking their time to make those decisions. Looks like Gholdengo will be withdrawn, does not want to stay on the field any longer, wants to reset those special attack drops, and there we go. There is the Pelipper activating the rain, just boosting up the power of this Basculegion's water-type attacks even more. But in response, this Incineroar is going to be withdrawn for the Rillaboom. So rain is still active, and with the rain, with the choice band, I think the Rillaboom is just going to get knocked out if the Basculegion targets its slot. So, which slot did this Basculegion target? It's the Wave Crash into the Ursaluna! So the Ursaluna is going to keep itself safe for this turn, and now we got Fake Out and Grassy Glide active.
Yeah, now we have, and that Basculegion is not in a safe spot at all. Like you've mentioned before, at the top of the match, I think the Basculegion is probably in a space where it can take at least 1 Grassy Glide, but you really want to keep it as healthy as possible for the end game without really sacrificing that HP too much. Can you switch it out at this stage? If you do that, you still got the Pelipper that you can lean into, and you can go for the Weather Ball into the Ursaluna here. You can go for the... You can't really click the Hurricane, or you could dispatch of that Rillaboom. You could go for the Hurricane into that slot. It's guaranteed. You've got to worry about the Blood Moon, though, that can come out into the Pelipper here. Would be enough to take it down to the Sash. And if we see a double up here from a Grassy Glide, a Blood Moon into that Pokemon, then things could get bad very quickly for Victor, because you're losing that Weather Setter once again without much return.
Well, it looks like the Ursaluna will be recalled for what looks like the Ninetales. So winter is coming. There is no more rain. All those raindrops have been frozen in the sky. But the Fake Out comes up onto this Pelipper, buying its teammate a turn for the Wave Crash that goes up onto this Ninetales. Comes so close to the knockout, but thanks to the defense boost in the snow, though, from this Ninetales, it is able to hang on.
Yeah, and now with that switch in for the Ninetales, perfectly done from Emanuele. Now the Pelipper's out on the field. It's not in a great spot at all. It's going to have to switch out, but you have got the Incineroar in the back of your Victor. It's got a nice, easy switch in. You've got to try and get that Basculegion off the field, though, as well. It doesn't have the swift swim ability, and it is going to be susceptible to a potential disable. Not only that, it is going to be susceptible to a Grassy Glide as well, so that's also not in a great spot. Which one do you switch out? Preferably your attacker, your offensive option. The Basculegion has to come off the field. Can Emanuele capitalize on this and maybe take a little bit of an advantage, get that Auroraville set up when the opportunity is there?
We could potentially even see, say, a double switch out from Victor's side because he really doesn't want the Pelipper and the Basculegion on the field right now. Looks like Basculegion will be recalled. Are we going to see the Incineroar or are we going to see the Gholdengo? It is the Incineroar, so dropping a very nice Intimidate onto this Rillaboom, and it also means it's going to take those Ice-type attacks from Ninetales really well. Pelipper now actually not withdrawing, just goes for the Protect to try and scout out what Emanuele is going to do.
Yeah, if the Incineroar can get through this turn, it's going to be really useful for that fake out the next turn where it can potentially stop the Ninetales from disrupting with another Blizzard here. It is going to fire into the Incineroar. It is going to be able to take that pretty comfortably. Now the Pelipper are going to be in that position where it could potentially get a Tailwind set up, and that will be key because then you don't really worry so much about what weather's on the field, right? You've got that Tailwind, your speed control, but it's only for a set amount of time, so you're going to be on the clock to take advantage of that. I mentioned Auroraville. There is no Auroraville. There is Icy Wind, though, that the Ninetales can use, and also that Blizzard, but there is Disable as well. It has to be considered.
I almost wonder if the Pelipper actually wants to weatherboard the Rillaboom right now. That's going to be an Ice-type attack. Now, of course, Rillaboom is going to move before the Pelipper, but at -1 attack, I don't think it's going to be able to knock it out also without the grassy terrain. So it's going to be quite interesting. Is Victor just going to keep his Pokemon on the field and maybe make a little bit of a read?
We'll see, as the Ninetales is going to be withdrawing from Emanuele. We want to keep that for later on, especially if the weather does adjust and the Pelipper moves off the field to bring that drizzle back on. Like we're seeing here, at least you've got that Ninetales nicely tucked away in the back to disrupt from both players going forward. Gholdengo going to make its way back onto the field. Great position for it to be in front of the Rillaboom. And it is a revolving door of Pokemon. Had to drop it in. Don't apologize. The Incineroar going to come back onto the field from Emanuele, drop an all-important Intimidate down onto that Incineroar and get around any potential fake out coming from the Incineroar. But that's not what we see. It's just a Flare Blitz, and it is into the Incineroar. Great switch there from Emanuele to take that powerful attack.
Oh, wow. So now that both Incineroars are on the field again at the same time, Victor's one has already been on the field, so it cannot go for the fake out. But Emanuele's Incineroar can. So a Pokemon, Incineroar, could potentially get faked out on Victor's side, and Emanuele's, I would say he's got quite a good control of this game right now.
Yeah, do you think you need to go for the fake out here? You've got the pressure. I think your parting shot's quite a nice option into the opposing Incineroar in this scenario. Or, you know, you've got that Blood Moon that's pressuring with the Earth Power into the Gholdengo, so you can go for that slot. And then maybe, if you need to, you can go for the fake out into the opposing Incineroar just to slow it down. Maybe even get close enough to pick up a cheeky knockout there with the fake out. As weak as it is, that Incineroar on Victor's side, very low health at the moment.
Oh, yes. Now, Gholdengo going for a Protect to keep itself safe. Maybe try and bait out an Earth Power into that slot. Incineroar does go for the knockoff, which is going to be nullified by that Protect. What did Ursulune go for? It is the Blood Moon onto this low health Incineroar, and Incineroar is going to get picked off by this Blood Moon. So Victor now has lost his Intimidate user and will be forced to bring out either his Basculegion in the back or the Pelipper.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting which one Victor leans on here, because I think the Basculegion's a nice option, right? It's going to be able to pressure both the Incineroar and put immediate pressure onto that Pokemon with even a flip turn where you can guarantee an attack into that slot. The Incineroar either goes down or it switches out, and then the Rillaboom comes in, takes a little bit more damage there. Or do you go after the Blood Moon Ursaluna? Or if you go after it with a Wave Crash and you get that target, you could be in a position where you can remove what is, I would say, the biggest threat for Victor on Emanuele's side of the field.
Victor actually has not gone for a Terrestrialization just yet. So he could possibly go for that Terra Water and then remove that Dark type weakness from the Incineroar. And if he switches in the Pelipper, then I could see that actually getting knockout straight up onto this Ursaluna. So the targeting is going to be so close now. It looks like Incineroar does not want anything to do with a super effective water type attack. The Rillaboom is going to come in once again to try and soak up this hit, and it's going to set the Grassy Surge. So all the Pokemon on the field will be able to slowly recover, and now we see a terastallization. I would guess it's into this, it's into the Gholdengo, into the Terra Flying. So if there's an Earth Power into the Gholdengo, it will be immune.
This could be enough for Victor as he's setting up possibly an endgame here. Nasty plot coming out, going to have that immunity to the Earth Power, if that is what the Blood Moon Ursaluna has chosen. Flip turn coming out from the Basculegion, wants to be as safe as possible, not wanting to take any risks. And by doing so, you're able to not only get it off the field, preserve it for later, but get that Pelipper back onto the field, override that Snow, and get away from any sort of Earth Power that we know is the only offensive option that Blood Moon currently has after the Blood Moon was used the previous turn.
Oh, look at that! Ursaluna went for the Earth Power onto this Terra Flying Gholdengo, which takes absolutely 0 damage from that Earth Power. And now this Pelipper has come in, has summoned the Rain, and it's setting up for its teammate Basculegion in the back. But of course, Emanuele does have that Ninetales ready to swap in and override the Rain.
Yeah, not only that, the more immediate threat is the Fake Out support alongside the Blood Moon that the Rillaboom and that Ursaluna have for anything on Victor's side of the field. Now, the Gholdengo has terastallized. It's got away from that weakness that the ground type Earth Power has. It's not going to have to contend with it here, but it might have to contend with the Blood Moon. Of course, now that is going to be a later threat as the Incineroar makes its way onto the field. I'll drop an Intimidate, not really that useful, but more importantly, it is going to have a resistance to any Make It Rains that come out. Has to be careful about what that Pelipper decides to do, though, but not this turn because of the flinch from the Fake Out and a timely Shadow Ball.
Oh, that did so
even though resisted, not taking as well as probably what Emanuele would have liked there, coming off a +2 special attack from that Gholdengo. Now it's sitting in a good spot where probably you can get a Make It Rain off and pick up a knockout on both these targets. The only issue is Fake Out is active on the Incineroar, so it is going to be able to prevent at least one of these Pokemon from attacking this next turn.
Yes, I agree. Gholdengo is in a very comfortable position here. The Rillaboom can't really threaten it with its grass and ground coverage. Incineroar, of course, it is in range of getting picked off by any attack from this Gholdengo. It does have the Fake Out. If it fakes out the Gholdengo, which is no longer a Ghost type, it will get flinched. So Victor will really have to consider which Pokemon goes for the Protect. Looks like Rillaboom doesn't want to have anything to do with maybe a super effective Hurricane coming its way. Ninetales coming in. The snow once again will be set upon the field, and all these snowflakes are flying in the air. Gholdengo just wanting to keep itself safe for this one turn with the Protect. And Incineroar, however, gets the correct target onto this Pelipper. So Pelipper does not get a single attack off this turn.
That is a phenomenal Predict there with the Fake Out into the Pelipper, because if you go after the Gholdengo and you miss out and you go into that Protect, things could get very bad very quickly, especially if the Pelipper had locked in with potentially a Tailwind there that would put that Gholdengo ahead of everything on the opposite side of the field. Now, the Ninetales coming in. It's going to be in a key position to fire off a Blizzard. It's going to be super effective into that Gholdengo now with that Flying Terror type. So this could be very detrimental to Victor's game plan if he can't protect this Gholdengo.
Gholdengo gets a double Protect off. A huge double Protect, because now this Ninetales' Blizzard will no longer be hitting it super effectively. And more importantly, the Gholdengo can now swap out for a Pelipper. In the back, is there a freeze? No, there is no freeze. And it's
double up into the
knockout
Protect.
into the Gholdengo. A fantastic Protect. They're coming in clutch, and Basculegion swaps in for free.
And this could be the lifeline that Victor's looking for. The double Protect is what he needed there. Now, like you've mentioned, Zoe, switch out the Gholdengo, activate the Rain onto the field, pin in that Ninetales, and really utilize the Basculegion. You can either get rid of the Incineroar, it can't protect, it's got to switch, or you go after the Weather Setter in Ninetales. Which target you go after, and which one are you going to be able to secure this turn? One thing is for sure, Victor can secure at least one knockout if he gets the targeting right.
Oh, this is so close. Emanuele still has 4 Pokemon, whereas Victor only has 3, and they're all quite heavily chipped. Now this Ninetales will be recalled in the back for future use, and the Ursaluna comes in. So that is a full health Ursaluna, just really ready to take a neutral hit. Looks like actually Basculegion just doesn't even want to have anything to do with attacking. It just gets recalled immediately for the Pelipper. So rain will be set once again. The storm clouds are gathering, and a Make It Rain comes up and knocks out the Incineroar and brings the Ursaluna down to under its half of its health.
Yeah, it's one piece of the puzzle lost for Emanuele, and a really key one as well. Victor taking full advantage of those nasty plot boots from the Gholdengo, and now in a nice position to do even more pressuring this next turn. The one thing that Emanuele has is the Ninetales in the back. They can bring that back in and then apply that pressure once again to the Pelipper and this Gholdengo, especially with those Blizzards that are going to be super effective against both of these flying types. They're not super effective against the Pelipper, of course, but it will be hitting it for good damage, and it's probably in range to go down to a Blizzard this next turn. Can you squeak in switching out the Pelipper once again, which you need to try and get control of the weather? Doing so, though, is going to put your Basculegion at big risk. Of course, if it comes onto the field, it will have to contend with potentially a Blood Moon or an Earth Power.
Oh, this Pelipper now swapping out for this Basculegion, which will take those Ice-type moves very nicely. Gholdengo once again protecting, keeping itself safe from this super effective Blizzard that's coming its way. Now Ninetales gets to fire off a Blizzard. It's going to be not very effective on this Basculegion. Barely does anything. Does not get the freeze, but the Blood Moon from the Ursaluna is going to come off at the Basculegion and knocks it out!
That's a huge knockout, and one of the biggest pieces for Victor has fallen. And now it's only the Gholdengo and the Pelipper. It is going to be able to come back onto the field, set the rain, but is it going to have enough alongside its partnering Flying Terra-type Gholdengo to take any sort of advantage to get back into this match?
Oh, this is so difficult for Victor right now. Ninetales, of course, the Blizzard in Rain is not 100% accurate, but if it does manage to connect, I think it could be just game over right now. Of course, Ninetales could swap out. It looks like Ursaluna keeping itself safe. Are we going to see a Blizzard from this Ninetales?
Looks like the Icy Wind was what was locked into. It does connect with both Pokemon here, so it is going to lower the
speed,
and it's going to be enough. That is going to be it.
Oh, Pelipper now knocked down to just a sliver of its health, but Pelipper only has single targeting moves, and Emanuele has 3 Pokemon. There is no way the Pelipper can get through all 3 of Emanuele's Pokemon, and it goes for the Tailwind, but oh, this Pelipper...
A little bit too far.
Can't really go through.
For the Pelipper to do with such little health here. The Icy Wind decision was such a good choice there. More accurate than Blizzard. And there it is. The battle cancelled. Emanuele is your Frankfurt regional champion.
Huge congratulations to Emanuele for his first ever championship title and the World's Invite. What a phenomenal match. Just getting all those reads correct, and oh my goodness, that game too. All the switching. How many times did the Ninetales swap in? How many times did the Pelipper swap in?